This is part 52 of my series on my Engaged Model Railway project. Previous parts cover the project from its inception through the creation of the baseboard, selection and laying of track, building of scenic items, obtaining rolling stock, etc. The project is ongoing. This part is about Dapol couplings, specifically my experiments with switching out the Rapido couplings on some Dapol rolling stock and replacing them with the alternate knuckle couplers provided by Dapol. As you may have seen if you've watched other videos in this series, I recently installed Microtrain's caddy couplings on some rolling stock. In that case, because the stock came either missing couplings or with weird, rather non-functional couplings. That got me thinking about alternative couplings, and it struck me that one area where I already had an alternative available was with some of my recent Dapol rolling stock, since in some cases Dapol actually include alternate couplings with new rolling stock. This is a Dapol LNER engine that I bought a little while ago, a balanced A4 Empire of India. I also bought a rake of 5 Dapol Gresley teak coaches to go with this loco, and the loco and those coaches all came with NEM pockets and with alternate couplings included. Here's the NEM pocket on the tender of the loco. When the loco was shipped, a Rapido coupling was installed, as is standard for the UK, but here you can see I have popped that out and replaced it with a long knuckle coupling as provided by Dapol. The loco actually came with 3 parts bags. One contained a pair of spare traction tyres, which are not immediately relevant here. This was, I guess you'd say, the main parts bag. Its contents are shown here except for one additional long knuckle coupling, which was the one just shown on the tender. The coupling at the back is a long and there are 2 shorts in front of that. In general, I used the short knuckle couplings, as we'll see in a bit. The third parts bag that came with the loco contained yet another pair of couplings in a bag of their own. Those are a different style of coupling again, with a decoupling tail, more similar to Microtrain's couplings. I didn't get involved with those as I'm not trying to implement magnetic decoupling. The couplings at the left are the NEM Rapidos that I removed from the loco. I left it without a front coupling as it looks better like that, and I have no intention of coupling anything to the front of this loco. This is one of the Dapol Gresley teak coaches, specifically a third-class corridor. All of the coaches came with NEM pockets with Rapido couplings installed and 2 pairs of alternate knuckle couplings provided in a bag, 1 pair of short and 1 pair of long. Here you can see 2 long knuckle couplings, 1 short knuckle and 1 Rapido. I have already replaced one of the originally mounted Rapido couplings with a short knuckle coupling. Here's a close-up of the couplings. All of these came included with each coach, 1 pair of Rapidos, 1 pair of short knuckles and 1 pair of long knuckles. Only 4 are shown here because the other 2 are currently mounted on the coach. Here's a close-up of the bottom end of one of those Dapol coaches, showing a Rapido coupling fitted. The small black square into which the coupling fits is the NEM pocket. Note that the NEM pockets are not actually attached to the bogies, even though it might appear so here. The NEM pockets actually move independently of the bogies, which I'm sure helps a lot with good running, but it does make it a little bit tricky to change the couplings, as holding the bogie will not hold the pocket still. Here's the other end of that coach, with a short knuckle coupling fitted. This coach is the one LNER teak coach I have that was not made by Dapol, and I wanted to be able to make use of this one also. In fact, I have no idea who made this coach. It has no maker's name on it. I picked it up cheap from tiny railroads in Delhi, Ontario. Here's the bottom of that coach. No maker's name, as I say, and no NEM pockets, so this one is pretty much stuck with Rapido couplings. In fact, when I got it, the coupling at this end was broken, snapped off at the bendy place in the middle. The coupling you see here is a spare that I fitted, having obtained a bunch of couplings of this type from Scotty's parts bin at tiny railroads. Here's the join between a Dapol third with a Rapido coupling fitted and the no-name brake, a fairly typical Rapido join. In contrast, here is the join between the other end of that Dapol third and an adjoining Dapol first, both with short knuckle couplings fitted. Here's another join between two Dapol coaches, both with short knuckle couplers fitted. As you can see, the join is indeed very close, with the corridor connectors on the coaches actually touching when on a straight, although they do part on curves. Here's how I made up the whole train. There's a brake at each end, something that was sometimes done indeed with real trains, so they could be run in either direction without any need for shunting. Then thirds next to the brakes, and then firsts in the middle of the train. All of the connections are between the short knuckle couplers that Dapol provided, except for those to the no-name brake. That is connected at one end to a Dapol third, on which I have a NEM Rapido fitted, and the other end of that no-name brake provides a Rapido connection point so that the train can be pulled by an engine with Rapido coupling, as shown here. Alternatively, an engine with a Dapol knuckle coupler can be hooked up to pull the train from the other end. The short knuckle couplers hold the coaches very close together with an effect that's much more realistic than normal N-gauge couplings. I was also quite surprised to find that the train ran all round my layout without problems with these short couplings, even round the tightest curves I have, which are 11-inch radius. One downside of using the short knuckle couplers is that they're quite difficult to hook up. There's no way two pieces of rolling stock with these couplers fitted are going to couple just by backing one into the other. Even pushing the two firmly together won't produce a hookup. It's necessary to sort of push the two together and then slightly raise one to get them to connect. But once they're connected, they seem to stay connected firmly. I haven't had one come uncoupled yet. So now let's see some running with these couplings, both with a Rapido coupled engine and with a knuckle coupled Dapol engine. Okay, I just want to have a look at this LNER stuff. So first, here's the balanced Empire of India, a balanced A4. This is a Dapol engine, which I bought new not that long ago. I have to say I am not very happy with it. It just does not run smoothly. It's just a jerky runner. It runs. It's been very, very adequately run in. And it runs, but it doesn't run smoothly. It needs a lot of power, and even then it sort of jerks. It doesn't run smoothly. It hesitates. Which is not good for an expensive new engine. And I really don't know why. But anyway, now I'm going to try to run it across the crossover onto the inner track, and let's see if we can actually pick up a train with it. Yep. So I've got the train here made up of these Dapol coaches. Now I know that's not going to couple automatically. That's one thing. The Dapol short couplers will not couple automatically for me. I have to couple them manually, and even at that, they're not the easiest thing to couple. But surprisingly enough, they will go around the bends, which I was kind of rather afraid they wouldn't, because the coaches are very closely coupled with those short couplers. But so far in my experiments, they seem to have gone around the bends okay. Everything here is coupled by Dapol short couplers, except for the back brake, which is not a Dapol brake, which is coupled on by a Rapido coupler. And here we're pulling up the gradient. That's one thing. I mean, he'll pull up the gradient okay because he's got traction tyres on. He just doesn't seem to be a smooth operator. He hesitated there. That might be because of the bump in the track where but he just seems generally to be running rather hesitantly, and I'm giving him quite a lot of power here as well. I'm not maximum power, but quite a bit of power. And he's just never seemed to be a smooth runner, no matter how much running in I gave him. But he will pull the train. He's pulling 6 coaches there up a gradient, but he's got traction tyres. Right. So that is the Dapol A4, the Balanced Empire of India, pulling that train. Now I'm going to unhook him. Unhook him and put him back round on the outside line, and now I'm going to try and bring out a Union Mills LNER engine to pull that train, which of course will be from the other end because this guy has a Rapido coupling and it's not an M coupling or anything, so I don't have any way of changing it easily. Oops. A bit more on the middle of the turntable there. And I want him to be going backwards because I've got to couple him up to that end of the train. This is a Union Mills B12. Which I've managed to go and get stuck on the points. I did reset that point, at least I tried to. No, he's not having any. He's not having any. No, I am not going to be able to do that now. I'm going to have to go around there. I did reset the point. Well, I flipped the switch anyway. No, the point actually is reset. So, I don't know, is he not railed well? Pull him across the rail thing there. I don't know. The point is reset. I thought maybe the point had not reset, but it did. Oh, for goodness sake. He's clearly not railed right even now. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, dear. No, he's obviously not on the rails correctly. Yes, actually in this case it's his loco that's not on the rails right, I think, rather than his tender. Actually, he probably will auto-couple because that's a Rapido. Let's see. Hang about. I'm just making sure those points are setting because I've got a goods train parked on the inner line, so I don't want to run him around the inner line. Crossover is reset. So there you are. This, I don't know, for some reason I oiled this B12 this morning, but it still seems a very squeaky engine for some reason. Running forwards, it doesn't squeak running backwards, but it's something in its squeaks running forwards, and I can't quite figure out what it is. I oiled what I could see to oil. I might have to have it apart, because I've oiled everything I can from the outside. The bearings of the valve work and the gears of the tender, but it's still squeaking rather badly, which is not a good sign, is it? Still, as you can see, he certainly can pull this train of 6 Gresleys up the gradient there. Now, he does not have traction cars. He's a typical Union Mills loco. He's just heavy and tender driven. And this is the only train I have of LNER coaches. These 6 Gresleys, 5 Dapol Gresleys, and give them a little bit more power up the hill here, and the one no name that I picked up cheap at tiny railroads and repaired. So there you go. That's the train. No name brake, Dapol third, Dapol first, Dapol first, Dapol third, Dapol brake.